If your entry point is the gym, you should at least spend the first couple of years getting used to fucking training, getting under weights, feeling what style of training you like. You were saying about the Trenbolone and stuff, because I want to touch on this subject.
Yeah.
I never touched that until 4 weeks out from a show. I haven't touched that since 2018, my last show. I didn't like the way I felt on it. I didn't like the way I acted on it. When I say that, I was a fucking maniac in the gym.
Yeah.
My mindset was so focused, and you've obviously know some stories about when I was in the gym. But me going into that 4 weeks out and that nitty gritty, where I've got to get this weight off. I'd even pre-warn my wife. I was like, hey, listen, it's that time of the year, and she'd know.
Yeah.
And I would just put that hat back to front, and there was just this. I just don't understand how Tren has become the entry point drug, and everybody talks about it. Tren this, Tren that, and it's probably the worst thing you could take.
It's the fentanyl, it's like people, instead of like smoking a joint and drinking a beer, they're taking fentanyl, which is worse than crack cocaine. Like that's how they're getting into it. Yeah,
it's so upsetting because listen, we're not going to see these detrimental effects until a couple of years time.
For sure.
And there's a lot of these guys now who are looking at look at Chris Bumstead, right? Yeah. Chris is at the top of the tree right now. He's a superstar.
Yeah.
But people want to look like Chris. They don't want to look like whoever the current Mr. Olympia is. That's the unfortunate thing. You're Derek Lunsford, right? They look at Chris and go, wow, Chris has got this notoriety. Every chick wants to be with him. He's got the good looks. He's in great shape. He's big enough, but he's not too big. He's that classic look that everyone wants to kind of walk around in the gym.
Yeah.
But they think that them taking certain things are going to make you look like Chris. Chris is an anomaly.
Yeah.
Chris, nobody can do what Chris Bumstead does, because that guy has the humility, he has the passion, he has the drive, he has the good looks, he has all these boxes ticked, and he is a solid dude too. Unfortunately, some of these guys want to, get the fast pass, and there is no fast pass, as we've already spoken. It's commitment to your craft, consistency. In fact, Chris turned pro as a super heavyweight. And then he realized that, man, being a super heavyweight and a bodybuilder is not going to, I'm not going to play the cards. And also Chris has a kidney deficiency, so he has to watch what he does.
Yeah.
So the unfortunate thing is, there's people out there, going back to social media, that will use their channel to talk about what people want to hear. And then you've got the guys who have knowledge, like Plates No Dates, Greg Duchette. There's a lot of different guys who put out really good knowledge and are going to, castrate you by talking or doing certain things that you shouldn't be doing. But of course, you're not going to follow that channel. You're not going to listen to something that you don't want to do. You're going to listen to what your boy is doing, and he's had them fast gains, and he looks this way. But again, there's no substance to that. You can't sustain that look. What's going to happen is you're going to start developing the side effects, the anxiety every day. You're going to have all these things that come from doing, more than you should do. If your entry point is the gym, you should at least spend the first couple of years getting used to fucking training, getting under weights, feeling what style of training you like. There's so many different bodybuilders that train certain styles, and that's the beautiful thing about the sport. When I was in there, was you look at Ronnie Coleman, he had his style. You look at the second in the world at that point in time was Jay Cutler, and he had his style. Two different guys, both guys over 300 pounds in the off season.
Yeah.
Jay was a high rep supersetter, volume. You got Ronnie Coleman, who was, as we said, squatting 800 and something pounds like 4 weeks before the show. So I kind of took a little bit of these guys and I put my own training style together, but never was it about the pharmacological side of things. It was all for food for me.
Yeah, the food, I mean, that to me, that seems like the biggest hurdle.
It's the fucking gas that goes in the Ferrari.
Yeah.
You are what you eat. So again, you could put some fucking scientific oil in your car.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean your car is going to get any faster. It might do, but it's going to burn the engine out. I don't know. Like, I'm thinking of an analogy here, but if you're putting in the best quality gas and you're running a race car, you are going to win the race. You put shit fucking gas in your car, you might be able to do a couple of laps, but that car's not going to perform. And that's why you see these guys who are, eating absolute dog crap and putting in calories over calories over calories. The mindset is like more calories, more growth. Well, listen, certain body depositions are going to take what food you give it and sort it out. The way I see it is like a post office, right? You got letters coming in, there's the postman, and he's putting in the envelopes like this, protein, carbs, fats. Certain people can I mean, I've stood on stage with some guys who live on fast food in the off season. They hate chicken breast and rice. They can't stand it until they diet down and they follow that program. But had they implemented that clean eating style in the off season, these guys could have won shows. But that goes back to what you said earlier too. You've got the guys who have the work ethic, and then you've got the guys who have the genetics, right? So the guys who have the genetics, you know, some of these guys will be able to eat McDonald's every single day, and get away with it. But when you've got an entry point guy who is looking at somebody who's been doing this for a long time and eating pizzas and whatever every single day, and then taking copious amounts of pharmacological stuff, it's not a good result.